This is Fat to Fierce. Welcome to the Confidence Chronicles. I'm your host, Amy English. Join me on this empowering adventure towards a healthier relationship with food, body, and self, one delicious bite at a time. Hello there. Welcome to episode 31 of the Confidence Chronicles. I'm your host, Amy English, and I'm happy you're here today. I hope you are having a great week so far. And listen, before I forget, I hope that you will click the follow button on this podcast. This way you'll get notified every time a new episode goes live, which is typically every Thursday, at least for now. So today I wanted to tell a story, share a story, and it's a story about weight fluctuation. And the reason I want to share this story is for a couple different reasons, but primarily it's because most of the women that I work with and that I have worked with over the years struggle with emotional eating, right? They struggle with a negative body image, and they also struggle with weight in the sense that weight and weight loss has been a part of their world for a really long time. If you listened to episode 30, I talked about, the early age of dieting. And that is the case for a lot of my clients where they were put on some sort of a diet early in life, as kids. And so this has kind of been the focus for a really long time. And when you consider that most of my clients are between the ages of like 35 and 65, 35 and 70, you just can do the math and see how long this cycle has been going on, or this focus, if you will, this intent focus on weight. And what gets wrapped into that is the food and the body image and the negative thoughts and the emotions and all the stuff, right? It's all part of this. And I think sometimes that's why I have a challenging time trying to pick a specific topic that I want to talk about for this podcast, because there are so many threads to pull, right? In this umbrella of emotional eating, or this umbrella of really lifetime weight focus or weight obsession, if you will. I think it's safe to say that I've been obsessed with my weight for a really long time. And I know that that's very common among the people that I tend to work with. I always say, if you could go back and ask people that I went to high school with, what's the one thing that they would remember about me? And I would put money on the fact that they remember me asking them if I looked fat. This just goes way back. And so today I thought, let's tell a story about weight fluctuation, because here's the thing. When you've been in this mode of dieting and you've had this focus on weight loss for a long time, and I'm going to say longer than a decade, okay? Because that's the other thing too. There's all different types of people and experiences out there, right? Some women, and I'm talking specifically about women because that's who I tend to work with. Some women never struggle with their weight. I think that's amazing. Some women don't struggle with their weight until, after they have children. Some women don't struggle with their weight until they start to hit perimenopause. There's tons and tons of different stories out there, right? A lot of women, myself included, have struggled with weight since they were kids. Weight became a topic really early in life. And so did the world of dieting, right? And so when you're in this mode for a really long time, there can be a lot to unravel, right? There can be a lot to understand. And so I want to share a story today that talks about weight fluctuation, because I believe that somewhere along the path of this whole, let's call it diet land. And I don't like saying that because a diet is merely a way of eating, right? That's what it is in its most basic sense. A diet is a food protocol. It's a food plan. That's all it is. it's kind of gotten a bad rap over the years because it's gotten tied into this world of weight loss, right? And there's this huge misconception that comes along with this, and that is that weight should always be going down. So if you are working on weight loss and you are following a specific plan or a specific diet or what have you, that weight, your weight, should consistently be going down week after week, or however you're measuring that, right? Which here I could go into a whole side topic about that. Let me stay focused. But yeah, there is this misconception that weight should be going down and that it's a problem if it's not, or you're doing something wrong if it's not going down. If it's staying the same, or God forbid, if it goes up. We make that mean so much. And I'm here to just ask the question, what if that's normal? What if there's nothing wrong? What if it's not a problem? And what if it's okay? And so I'm going to just dive into the story that I want to share with you today. So several weeks ago, I can't remember what episode it was, but I believe I had shared that we were on vacation. We went away in June. We were gone for 2.5 weeks. We went to Ireland and we went to London. And then we also visited with my parents in Buffalo, which was lovely because I was lucky enough to have them watch our puppies for us while we were gone, which was amazing. And anyway, while we were gone, I knew that I was just going to enjoy all the food while still paying attention to my body, okay? Because that never stops. And that's another thing. I'm going to go on to a little side road here with this. I think a lot of times people are so uber focused on weight loss and on their diet, and they're trying to lose weight before a vacation. And then what happens is they go on vacation and they go absolutely nuts. And then they're frustrated with themselves and they come back and it's like, what happened? Why did I do that? Blah, blah, blah. And here's the deal. When you're paying attention to your body and when you are truly in alignment with how you feel and you're paying attention and your focus is on feeling your best physically, you tend to not go completely nuts because you don't want to feel that way anymore, right? When your focus becomes feeling your best and taking care of your body regardless of the weight, you tend to make more balanced decisions, all right? So anywho, so we were gone for 2.5 weeks. I knew I was going to enjoy food. Like I could not wait to have Irish stew. And I didn't know we were going to London because that was a big surprise that my husband had planned for us, because we actually went and met with friends of ours who just happened to be in London the same time, or in England at the same time we were in Ireland. So I wasn't planning on being in London, but when I was there, I absolutely had the best, what was it? It was like a meat pie. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Anyway, I intended on enjoying myself, but while still being mindful because I didn't want to feel like crap. And I don't drink alcohol very often at all anymore. But when we were in Ireland, I absolutely did indulge in a hard cider that was scrumdiddlyumptious. Anyway, so, but just one, because again, I didn't want to feel terrible, right? We were exploring. We were very busy. As you can imagine, right? We covered a lot of ground while we were away, doing all the, touristy things and everything. So the last thing I wanted was to feel like crap. And as it turns out, I got sick anyway, along with my 2 kids. And so we were down and out, each of us for a day anyway, because we ended up with really nasty colds. Anywho, I didn't want to feel bad because I was eating like crap, right? Or I should say, indulging in too many pleasure foods. All right. So I wanted to be very mindful, and I was. But that said, I still ate very different than how I eat normally when I'm home. And even when we got to Buffalo and spent a few days with my parents, I absolutely, listen, if you're from Buffalo, or you've ever been to Buffalo, or if you're ever going to Buffalo, check out Paula's Donuts. They're the best donuts ever. In fact, I won't eat a donut anywhere else because they are that good. It's just pointless to eat a donut anywhere else. Anyway, so I knew that I was going to, there are certain things in Buffalo that I know I'm going to indulge in when we're there. And it's funny because every time we go to Buffalo, I always decide like, okay, I'm going to have this time. I'm going to have this time. I try not to have it all at once because again, it usually leaves me feeling pretty bad physically. But if I just pick one item, that I indulge on, and then I know I'll have the other one the next time we go. Anyway, I don't know. I just can't get the same food here where we live now in Georgia. Whatever. That's a whole other topic. Okay. So staying on track, Amy. So while we were gone, I enjoyed all the foods. And when we got back, I had gained 7 pounds. Now, in the past, this would have sent me over the edge, right? Coming home to gaining 7 pounds. I mean, I may have not even weighed myself, if I'm being honest. I might have just gone into the mode of, okay, like let's just focus and try to, do good or whatever, which would have just gone sideways. But no, I got home the very next morning, our first morning home, I got on the scale, I weighed myself, and I saw that I was up 7 pounds, and I wasn't surprised. And the reason I wasn't surprised is because I know how my body works, and I know how easily I know how my weight fluctuates, and I know how easily I gain weight, and I gain weight very easily. I could eat a cupcake today and be up 3 pounds tomorrow. I know this just because I have researched my body long enough and I've tracked it long enough. I understand how it works. And so I'm familiar with this. It's really just not a big deal. And so I get home, I'm up 7 pounds. What do I decide to do? Just jump back on my regular eating plan. And for me, it's very basic. I just focus on, 90% power food with maybe it's like 95% power food with like 5% pleasure food, right? Every once in a while, I indulge in a treat or something like that, a piece of cake, a cookie, what have you. For the most part, I'm focused on power food simply because that just feels better for me. Now, but I like to have a little treat once in a while, usually like once a week or so. Now, so here's the thing. So I'm up 7 pounds. I start back on my plan, and as the weeks are going by, my weight's really not budging. It's going down a little bit, but it's really not budging. And, I just keep on going and I keep on doing what I'm doing. Well, it wouldn't be until 7 weeks later, 7 weeks after we got back from vacation, is when I returned to my pre-vacation weight. We're talking like a pound a week, okay? Now, again, in the past, had I weighed myself to see that I was up 7 pounds, I probably would have been frustrated. I probably would have went on some sort of crash course, way of eating, diet, we'll call it, and, became really obsessed and would have gotten frustrated had that weight not been gone after like 2 or 3 weeks. And I think this is the kind of pressure we put on ourselves that just is never helpful. Because here's the thing. Why does it matter how long it takes? It really doesn't. It doesn't matter that it took me 7 weeks to remove 7 pounds. I mean, quite honestly, that's like a pound a week. And I think when I look back on my past experiences and when I reflect on my journey over the years, I think more than anything that the mentality that got in my way was getting frustrated that it wasn't going fast enough. Do you know what I mean? So because I would get frustrated that it wasn't going fast enough, I would give up. And I would just say, F it, right? F it. I'm going to go eat pizza, or I'm going to go eat cake, or I'm going to go get cookies or whatever, or give me that cheeseburger and fries, right? Just give up, because what's the point? Why bother? This is taking too long. And what I have learned over the years is that it's going to take as long as it takes, and it's never helpful to give up on yourself. It's never helpful to give up on your goals. And what can be really, really helpful is to look at what is underneath that urge to eat the forbidden food, or even like keeping food forbidden, okay, is just never helpful. The reason I eat the way I eat, and the reason I focus more on power food than pleasure food, and you can go back and look at previous episodes to get the whole rundown on power food and pleasure food. I'm not going to get into that detail here, but I did do a whole episode on that. The whole reason is because I started paying attention to how food feels when I eat it. So I would eat the pizza. Right? I did like a whole research thing with myself. I would eat a piece of pizza and I would notice how I felt as I was eating it and after I ate it. And I started realizing that I felt pretty terrible when I ate pizza. It was too much sodium for me. I usually got puffy and felt bloated and would always end up with heartburn. So I decided that I wasn't going to have pizza as often anymore. I actually did this really interesting exercise where I took a piece of pizza and I slowly chewed each bite and like noted, this is an exercise that I offer with some of my clients when we're working together. With each bite, I noted how it tasted and how it felt as I was eating it. And by like 6 bites, I was so done with it, I wasn't even interested anymore because it ended up just tasting like a soggy mess in my mouth. And that really changed the way that I saw pizza. It just wasn't as appealing anymore. And so that's why now, like, I'll usually check in with myself and say, oh, you know, does pizza sound good? Like, how does it feel if I want to eat a piece of pizza? And usually my stomach just starts turning and I know it's like a clear no. I'm like, no, we don't want pizza today. I can't even tell you the last time I had pizza. I mean, it's been a minute. Anyway, focusing on how my body feels and how I want to feel is always that's the focus, right? That's the goal. So more power food versus pleasure food. All right, where was I going with this? Because I went off on a tangent and now I don't remember. All right, I think the whole point in this was weight fluctuation is very normal. So when we got back from vacation, I had gained the 7 pounds and I just went right back to my normal way of eating, my primary power foods, right? And week by week, was there a little frustration? Of course there was. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was all, daisies and rainbows the entire 7 weeks. Of course there were moments where I was like, are you kidding me? Like, really? How long is this going to take? But even in those moments, I was able to kind of say to myself, okay, Amy, I know this feels frustrating. I know it seems like it's taking a long time, but you're not going to change the way you're eating regardless. So just keep going, right? Just because it was taking long didn't mean I was going to turn around and say, oh, screw this. Like, give me all the cookies or give me the whatever. Maybe that's how I got on that topic about pizza. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The whole point is I kept going. And I even may have hit a little bit of a plateau in that time. And here's what I want to offer about plateaus, because I do think that this is very interesting. This is a new thought that popped into my head about plateaus, and this was several years ago. The idea that a plateau is not a problem. Okay, so we're talking about a weight plateau here. So meaning your weight stays the same for a period of time. Very normal. Happens to everybody, okay? People talk about this. Plateaus are very real. Here's how I look at them. Instead of looking at it like it's a problem and I have to do something to change it up or I need to shock my system or something like that, I look at a plateau as this. My body just needs a chance to catch up. It's just an opportunity for my body to catch up with whatever I'm doing. Okay. And when I think that, it is such a better feeling, and it's just like, oh, okay, that makes so much sense. My body just needs a minute to catch up, and eventually it does catch up. It might take a little bit longer. Who cares? And I think that's the other point of this that I wanted to focus on is somewhere along the way we start looking at other people's, or we start taking other people's opinions. We start comparing our journey to other people's journeys. We start seeing people who are losing weight very quickly, or who it takes no effort at all for them to lose weight. Or maybe they're just sharing their highlight reel on social media that, oh, look at, they've just lost 50 pounds, and you have no idea how long it's taken, or you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, or what other methods they are using. Because let's face it, there's a lot of things out there to help with weight loss. The point is you're not comparing apples to apples, because you're not them and they're not you, and your body is different than their body, because everybody is different, right? Not everybody gains 3 pounds from eating a cupcake, but I do, right? And here's what's interesting. So I'll eat and I'm using the cupcake as the example. I always use a cupcake as an example. Anyway, like if I were to eat a cupcake today, I would gain 3 pounds, and it would take me a good week to remove those 3 pounds. Okay. I just know that that's how my body works. Now, some people look at me like I have 10 heads when I tell them this, including doctors. Okay. They're like, that's weird. I'm like, well, that's the way my body works. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I've been studying it long enough to know that this is how my body operates. And it I've just learned to work with it, and I realize that it's not a problem. And you know what? I love my body. And if it just needs a little bit of time to catch up, it's really not a big deal, because it doesn't change the way that I eat. And I guess maybe that's the big takeaway in this. When we're looking at a traditional weight loss plan type of diet, it usually involves some restriction, right? Or a lot of restriction. You can't eat certain foods. And when you haven't addressed the urge to eat these foods, or the frustration you feel because you can't have these foods, or you're simply not allowing these foods, and you're trying to use willpower, and you're trying to use motivation, and you're trying to use these other feelings that eventually backfire, when you're focused on that, it's going to make it really challenging to stick to anything. And I think we're looking for that quick fix, or we're looking for that easy peasy solution to remove the weight, so that we can go back and have the burger, or have the pizza, or have the cake, or have the whatever. Do you know what I mean? Instead, what I'm suggesting, so that's kind of like that weight loss toxic diet mentality, right? Like, restrict everything until you lose the 20 pounds, and then you can eat what you want. Like, I cannot even tell you how many times in my life I would say, okay, I'm going to do this until I reach the 20 pounds. And then when this is done, I can go and I can have that cheat meal, or I can go and have that treat, or I can go and have that whatever. That kind of mentality simply didn't work for me. And I don't think it works for a lot of people. So instead, what I'm sharing, what I'm offering as an alternative solution to that is remove the restriction. Learn what foods work for you and help you feel the way you want to feel. You don't have to necessarily cut everything out, but when you start to balance out the power food and the pleasure food, and make the focus feeling your best, like, you can still want to lose weight. That's fine. Listen, I don't prescribe that to either one of the mentalities, either the toxic diet mentality or the anti-diet mentality. Okay. A diet is merely just a way of eating. That's all it is. And the whole idea is to find what works for you, that helps you feel your best and supports whatever goal you're working towards, because You get to decide what you want to work on. And if you want to remove weight for whatever reason, that's also not bad. I think like the toxic part of the body positivity movement is this idea that it's bad to want to lose weight. And I feel that is just as toxic is the toxic weight loss mentality of like, you're not good enough if you don't lose weight. Like they're both on extreme sides, and let's just find somewhere in the middle that feels better. If you want to remove weight, great. Do it in a way that feels good. And while you're working on that, explore having a healthier relationship with food and your body. Because here's the other thing I know for sure, okay? It didn't matter how much weight I lost. When I lost 100 pounds in 2013, I still hated my body, okay? Yeah, I felt good for a few minutes, a few days after I hit that amazing milestone of 100 pounds, but it wasn't enough. I still cringed when I looked in the mirror. I still didn't like, seeing my body or putting clothes on or getting dressed in the morning or any of that stuff. It almost didn't matter that I had lost 100 pounds because I still had so many negative thoughts running through my head on a daily basis. I mean, quite honestly, I like, what's the point if you're still going to hate yourself or still not like yourself or still talk badly about yourself? And I think that's a really big piece that is missing when we're only focused on the scale. All right. This went in a couple different places today, but I do hope it's been helpful. I think to pull it back, some of the main points that I wanted to share is weight fluctuation is absolutely normal, okay? Every single body is different and every body is going to respond differently to food and on the scale, okay? Getting to know your body and how your body works is one of the best things you can do. Plateaus are normal. They happen, and maybe it's just an opportunity for your body to catch up. And comparing your journey, specifically your weight journey, with anybody else's weight journey is absolutely never helpful. It's just never helpful. And I think that's one of the reasons, I know that's one of the reasons I tend to get frustrated when I see the plethora of ads that are out there and talking about, this one's success and that one's success, because there's just no two people who share identical success on this journey. And when you're just bombarded with all these people who seeing all these success stories and not seeing what's gone on behind the scenes, it can be really defeating when it doesn't seem to be going as quickly for you or as effortlessly for you. Listen, I will be very honest with you. Weight loss for me has been a tremendous effort. Just working through my emotional eating, my binge eating, my relationship with food, and even my relationship with myself and my body. It has all played a factor in me getting to where I am now, which is, my lowest weight in many, many years. So, all right, before I go off on another tangent, I am just going to say this. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you will tune in next time. And don't forget to click that follow button. All right. I hope you have a great week. Are you ready to take control of your eating, embrace your body, and boost your confidence? Then let's get fierce. Start your Fat to Fierce journey today. Go to amyenglishcc.com for more resources and to book your discovery call.